Hey folks, this is Kalani. Welcome back to the Hellfire Citadel raid guide for normal and heroic. This time we'll be looking at Archimonde. Now Archimonde is actually a relatively easy fight, there's just a lot involved, so it's a lot of learning and a lot of focus. Now the first thing that I'd recommend is you all stack on top of each other for the majority of the fight. When you're moving for Allure of Flames, I'd also move in a square pattern so you're never going back on top of fire, you're always moving away from it, and your adds are always a top priority. So the first add which spawns is the DOOMFIRE Spirit. This is going to be your source of fire. It'll start fixating on players. They need to kite the fire to the outside of the room so you don't have fire trailing everywhere. His next ability is Deathbrand, which will summon the second add Hellfire Deathcaller. While that Deathcaller is active, it'll deal a lot of damage to the tank who is branded, so the tank who isn't branded should pick up the boss, and everybody should nuke down the Deathcaller as quickly as possible. You're going to be moving throughout the fight due to Allure of Flames. Archimonde will pick up all the fire left from the Doomfires and replace it on top of player locations. So when the green swirls appear, everybody move out, use Stampeding Roar, any movement abilities you've got, and get to the next location. His next ability, Shadowfell Burst, is the first one you need to spread out for. Typically you'll get these after Allures, so when you're moving, simply stay spread out for a little while until Shadowfell Burst comes out, and then stack when you can. Shadowfell Burst is going to target ranged and healers, and it'll knock them up into the air. If people are within 8 yards of each other, it'll knock more than one person up, so try and stay 8 yards spread at least. When they come back down, they're going to deal a huge amount of damage, so people need to stack up inside the purple marker to make sure nobody dies. At 85%, Archimonde will start using Desecration, where he'll summon forth pillars. They're really easy to see where they're coming from. It's a green pulsing AoE, stay out of that. It does do a lot of damage when these spires come up. They'll also do damage over time to the entire raid. Don't worry too much about these, try and stack underneath them, because Urel is going to destroy them, and when she does, golden globes will spawn, which when broken will give everybody within 15 yards a buff, which makes them immune to shadow damage. If everybody's within the 15 yards, everybody gets the buff. At 70%, Urel is going to destroy all of the pillars and he will no longer use Desecration. He'll also no longer summon Doomfire Spirits or use Shadowfell Burst, so everybody should be stacked right on top of the boss. The first new ability is Shackled Torment. He'll shackle 3 players and they'll need to break those shackles because they start taking increasing damage over time. When you break the shackle, it does a lot of AoE damage, so break them gradually. Break 1, break 2, break 3, make sure heals are going out in between, use a healing cooldown if needed. The second new ability in this phase is Wrought Chaos. This is going to be a large laser beam. It'll go from one player to another. So the player with Wrought Chaos is the source, the player with Focused Chaos is the direction that this beam is going to go. These two players need to move out of the raid, and then the player with Focused Chaos gets Wrought Chaos and a new player gets Focused Chaos. So just anybody with these debuffs, make sure you're out of the stack and point it somewhere safe. At 55%, you'll get a few additional adds into the fight. FELBOURNE Overfiends want to be your top priority. They're going to start casting Heart of Argus, which does a lot of damage to everybody in the raid. Interrupt that, nuke it down. DREADSTALKERs are your little fell hunters. They're going to start interrupting people and do a little AoE. Stay out of the AoE and make sure they're being killed. Phase 3 is where things get really fun. This starts at 40%, you'll have everything to deal with from the previous phase except the 2 additional adds, and you'll also get Demonic Feedback, which does AoE within 6 yards of everybody, meaning you can no longer stack up. As soon as Archimonde transitions into this phase, you'll need to get into the corner, because you need to use as much room as possible once again. Your tanks are going to get targeted with NETHER Banish. This is going to throw them into a Nether realm, but you need a few people to go with them, so you need 1 healer, 3 DPS, and your tank. When that comes out, other tank taunts, the group needs to get on top of each other towards the back of the room, because it's going to spawn a nasty nether portal which will start throwing forth living shadow adds. These adds are very quick but don't have a lot of health. When they get to a player, they're going to do a lot of damage to them and give them a healing reduction debuff. That's very dangerous, so ranged, just make sure you're nuking these down. They take a few shots at most. Now the team that went down into the Nether, you've got an ad to kill called the Shadowed Nether Walker. It's going to do a lot of damage over time, so make sure your tank is healed up, interrupt its casts of Nether Corruption, stay out of the Nether Storms, and kill it as quickly as possible. When you kill it, you'll get a portal to get out. But there's a Void Star which spawns periodically. This is going to chase players, and you need to kite it and kill it very quickly, because if it hits players, it'll explode, throwing you off the platform. Any group that goes into the Nether needs to get back out before the next tank gets banished. You always need a tank outside to pick up Archimonde, or he's going to start killing your raid. At 25% health, Archimonde will start casting Rain of Chaos. This is going to bring down Infernal Doombringers, and this is your last obstacle in the fight. These Infernals need to be tanked separately. We had ranged nuke them, and any hunters distracting shot them away from each other, because while they're next to each other, they heal very rapidly. All of your DPS needs to nuke these down one at a time as quickly as possible, because if any of them gets to 100 energy, they'll start AoEing your raid for a huge amount of damage. But that is the fight. That last phase is going to be the issue for a lot of people. Just make sure your Infernals are going down and the people in the Nether realm are doing their job. That should be all you need to take down Archimonde on normal and heroic. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll try to get back to you. Feel free to check out any of my other guides for Hellfire Citadel, normal and heroic. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.